Probably that was
All right, so we have 10 more minutes on this topic.
yes. So now just get this information here out
So
now.
the biggest issue regarding getting organized is that there's multiple things going on here. We seem to be having some
Okay.
problems with it. So basically, there is the SBLC, right, which is the AI
Yeah.
slash UI agent, setup, and then we have
Yes.
the basically you could say Nexus slash uh, SVG slash bus, right? So this is basically coordinating all our client work and revenue and income and invoices, etc., right?
Yeah.
So those are the two primary things that we are doing.
Uh, uh,
So we need to have our work organizing spreadsheets, and they need to be organized with our team. And so both of those things are a huge problem. So I've had multiple sessions with you. I've had multiple sessions with Lucy. No one's communicating, no one's coordinating, no one is doing anything to deserve a single dime. Right? You see what I'm saying?
okay.
Like it's your job to be coordinating with the team and making sure we're organized. But instead, no one's communicating, no one's organizing, nobody knows where the work organizing spreadsheets are. No one has any idea what's
Okay.
going on. So I guess technically there's a third one, which is the new contract, right? So this is like setting up the contract specifically where we have money, right?
Okay.
So coordinating all of our client work, including all the revenue invoices, which Nexus is doing that, and doing all of our contract updating is very, very important. But it's very different than the new contract, which is very different than SBLC. So all these things are totally different. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's really like three
Okay.
separate clients. So a couple things we can do to get organized. One, we can make sure each time we have multiple overlapping, client assignments, that we have separate topics, right? So getting separate topics, or if we have two, in this case we have three separate things. If we want to overlap and talk about all three, we need three separate topics to help us keep organized with it. But either way, what we really need is we need to have clarity on our team sheet organizing and organizing all of our work organizing spreadsheets. So basically, if anyone does a work organizing spreadsheet, it should be in the exact same place so everyone can find it always. So our team is not organized. Well, we barely even have a team, so it's like, I think after the complete chaos and everything falling apart from before, we probably should just simplify and like create a single co-op team. So we kind of have like a umbrella co-op team. This would be for like the new fork, SFQN, you know, old fork, SFC, and other branches, right? So if we just kind of have one place where we can start getting organized, that might make a lot of sense.
Okay. So we need to have umbrella contribution co-op team in Fox for it to be under one central team, right?
Yeah, I mean, we basically need a link where we list all of our work organizing spreadsheets. And the fact that we don't
Oh,
have work organizing spreadsheets is a huge problem that they're not organized. I don't think you
Um,
even understand still what I'm even talking about. Like, do you think it's important at
I
all
do.
that you have access to what Lucy's working on? Like, do you care at all?
I do.
Do you think
I
that
think I
Lucy should
do.
have access to what you're working on?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so we just need to get that figured out because again, it's not my responsibility.
Okay. Fine. If that is the case, can you help me to look at line 4? I have a work organizing spreadsheet. I don't know if it is well arranged.
So this one says for SBLC.
Yes.
So this one would go for line 6,
Line 6. Okay.
right?
So
So
SBLC.
line
Yeah.
6 we have that work organizing spreadsheet, but that's only one of at least 3 that overlap in relationship to what we're talking about.
Okay,
And
okay,
Lucy
okay,
couldn't have that.
okay.
Like, where did you put it? How is Lucy supposed to find it?
She asked me the only time she was having a session with you on this that I should link it, and I shared it with her. But once again, I will still communicate with her that this is the work organizing spreadsheet for SBLC.
Yeah.
So whenever she's working on it, she should have it.
Yes.
Okay. Good. So the 2 other links need to be created right away. I'll do that for Nexus separately.
Well, it's not really Nexus. This
Yeah.
is SVG, and we have this. Is the problem is that we have all these work organizing spreadsheets. It's just you don't have them. Lucy doesn't have them. No one in the team has them. No one can access everything. It is a disaster.
Yeah,
Do you
that's very
understand
bad,
what I'm
not good
saying?
enough.
Like it doesn't help. Like, oh yeah, let's just create another work organizing spreadsheet for no reason, right? That's not going to help. That's not getting organized. Do you see what I'm saying, or you don't get it?
I do, I do, I do. I do. So if that is the case, first there is need of more of communication between me and Lucy. In fact, the entire team, whenever they are working on this, because if there is no
Yeah, so we
coordination,
have,
things.
yes, there's no coordination, exactly.
Mm, so no coordination. So we need
So
coordination.
yes, but the problem is we have policies on all of this. We just don't follow the policies, and no one really tries, right? So there's supposed to be a team sheet, and we're required on the team sheet to be linking our sessions and linking all of our work organizing
Wow,
spreadsheets.
wow,
You know, I mean, and we
okay,
have
wow,
this. We have 10 team sheets. It's just no one's using them, and nobody's coordinating anything between anybody.
wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Right?
I don't think I have access. Let me search if I have access to the team sheet. I have the link to the team sheet.
You've had multiple team sheets in the past, right? But the problem is that we're not using any team sheets and we don't have a team. No one's showing up for main sessions either.
Okay, let me see. Co-op team sheet. Let me see. Okay, SFC. Is it SFC co-op team sheets?
It's whatever team sheet you want. We have a whole bunch of team sheets. I can even give you the
Please,
link for the super co-op with all of the team sheets on it because we have links to many,
please,
many different team sheets.
kindly do that for me now. At
Sure.
least that will make my work easy. Mm. So once I have that now, so we start getting it here. So I have a single see and link um, document for easy access easy access. Good, thank you, Jesus. Yeah, yeah, good. So if I have that link now, link.
Okay, put it on line 30.
Oh, okay, good, thank you. I'll link it now.
Link
Okay,
it to
good.
what?
Okay, good. Let me check it out. Good. So good. Wow, this is good. communication, identity, message, team. Then there should be work organizing should be linked here. There should be a work organizing spreadsheet on Superman sheet. Work organizing spreadsheet. Yeah. So going to this SBLC here. Now SBLC. Okay. Yeah.
All right, we're out of time on this topic.
Yes. Yeah, we're done. So let's move to the next topic. Yes. Yeah. I'm coming. I want to link the notes. Okay, good. Yeah. So let's go back
So what should be our next topic?
So our next topic should be, we need to review what's remaining and what needs to be done with SBLC contract. Let's review what we've done so far. SBLC contracts. What has been created? 6 to 12 minutes. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Let's make it 20
So
minutes.
what is your goal here? I'm confused on what you're trying to accomplish.
So my intention here is to review what contract we've created so far, if we are done.
None. We've created 0 contracts. Nobody's done any work on that yet.
What did you say?
0.
Okay, so that means
we haven't
we
started
still
any
need
contracts.
But what about Nexus? The Nexus we are
But
creating.
Either way, SBLC does not create contracts. Do you understand that? SBLC is creating the agents.
Okay, agents. So yeah, thank you. That should be agents. SBL agents.
Yes, but we already created Nexus. Nexus has already been created, and you should have even gotten a bonus for that already.
Yes.
Or logged your bonus, right? So we could work on other agents. So we could work on the ecosystem. We could work on all real-time sessions. I mean, there's so many things that are going on. It's just endless. But if you want to do the contracts, then we need to actually do the contracts, which is because like we created the agent to help us with the contracts, but they're totally separate things. Do you see the difference between working on the AI, setting up the AI, and then actually doing the work? They're separate. Do you see the difference?
I do now. So I do. If that is the case, we need to look at the agent. If we are done creating the agent so far that we will
Yes,
need.
the agent is done.
The agent is done then.
Yes.
Okay, fine, good. We don't. So let's work on new contract then.
Do you even remember where we were at the end of the last session?
Yeah, the last session we were creating work organizing spreadsheets for Nexus, and in terms of how to model our work process.
We just had the SBLC work organizing spreadsheet. That's the one we had, and that's the only one we have. So I don't know what other work organizing spreadsheet you're talking about.
No.
So where do we leave off in the last session? Because it doesn't seem like you remember.
The last time we were working on training processing, responsibility training processing.
Okay, and what was the end result of that? What did we do? We were
Let
ready
me
to
check.
move forward, right? We were ready to do the first contract, but we didn't have the list of contracts to make. Do you
Yeah,
remember, or you just don't remember it?
I I don't. Let me check. Let me check our notes.
Right, I'm
Our
telling you,
last notes.
we set up Nexus, and Nexus was ready to do the first contract, but then we weren't ready because we didn't know what contract to work on because we didn't have our list of priority contracts.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
But I thought you yeah. Yeah, I think Lucy scheduled with you to work on Nexus to create a draft for US Inc.
Yes, but that's not a priority, and we didn't even get started on that because she didn't even have the work organizing spreadsheets to begin with. She came to the session, she had no idea what was going on, she didn't have a work organizing spreadsheet, so we couldn't do anything on that at all.
Okay, can
Right?
we work on that
So
now?
so the
Yes.
only thing we did have was the new contract, right? Because she worked on that before. So there's the three separate things. There's SBLC, which is the AI. There's the SVG UMCUS contracts, which is working with Nexus to do the next all of the contracts. Nexus all contracts, right? That's what we talked about is getting all of our contracts organized and getting updated with Nexus. And then there's the new contract, which is all the money, right? So those are the three separate things. I still don't think you understand them. Do you get it or not?
I do, I do.
Okay,
I
so
do
why
with
don't
the
you explain the
SBLC.
difference between the three? Because I feel like you're just confusing them still.
What did you say? I should do what?
Explain the difference so that you say
Yeah,
you understand it. So explain it because you keep seems to be mixing
yeah,
it up.
no, no, no. This SBLC is the setup, the agent setup, while the SVG and Onboss is the for all contracts, the contract, US Inc., all those contracts under the new contract talks about the amount of money that goes into each of the contracts created.
No, the new contract is specifically for where we have new money for, right? This is the new internal contracts we're making.
I,
All the
I can
contracts need
remember
to
you
be
talking about.
updated though, because we need to update all of our contracts and all of the work we were doing before as well, right?
Okay,
So
okay,
all the contract updating is there's like, let's say here there's like 10 to 20 contracts, right? And here there's like
okay,
five to 10. Okay.
okay,
And this one has 5 to 10 agents. Okay, so the
okay,
agents is not even contracts at all. We're not doing any contracts for the agents. We're just doing agents. So unless we're working on
okay,
agents, that's not applicable, right? So if we're working on contracts, there's two options. One, we can work on all our contracts. I guess we could kind of be, let's say it's probably more like 15 to 25. So we have 15 to 25 contracts or subcontracts or whatever overall that we need to organize, and then we just have 5 to 10 for just the new contract itself. Like the new contract is very very specific, right? Whereas all of our previous contracts are very broad and cover everything, right? Does that make sense?
okay. Yes, okay, okay. So like you, that mean you work on you and Lucy and Doris, you work on work organizing on SVG on bus contracts, where you talked about Durant, the new model, and all those things like that, subcontracts.
What was that last part that we worked on? What?
I said you were working on creating models for the new contract. I mean, SVG and on bus contracts.
So that's two separate things. So there's the new contract, right?
So
And then there's just
yeah,
the SVG coordination, right? The SVG MCUS coordination, which includes all the contracts and all of the work, right? Includes everything. Remember, Nexus does everything, not just the contracts. It does all the invoicing, it does all the
yeah,
client work coordination, it does all the planning and like the outreach and the
payroll.
sales and the sales funnels and all of the things related to income revenue generation, everything,
Okay.
right? So when we talk about SVG and UMBUS coordination, we're talking about everything. right? And the
Okay.
contracts is just
Okay.
one of like dozens of responsibilities that Nexus is responsible for. It's just one of many, many, many things, right? So the new
Okay.
contract is very specific just for the 5 to 10 contracts for the new contract, right? Which is separate. Do you see the difference?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you want to do?
So let us work on SVG on boss, Nexus, or contracts.
Okay, if that's what you want to do, we can work on that. So we're gonna need to find the work organizing spreadsheet for that.
Okay. I think there is SVG. Okay, let me link this. I have access to SVG client coordination
That's a good
only.
starting point. Yes, so SVG client coordination would be one of the components of the overall SVG bus, right? So
Okay. So,
we might want to, so we need to organize all those. We might want to create a new one. It's possible that Nexus is going to oversee many different work organizing spreadsheets under SVG and umbus. So there might be like an overall executive SVG umbus client work spreadsheet, or there could be, we could take the existing ones and just update it and evolve it. So we just need to get organized.
okay. Yeah. So you need to let me write align existing. Can you see can you see what I typed? Line 12, section G, column
Yes,
G.
and then we also need to, brainstorm and organize our list of contracts to create and update.
To get another brainstorm. Okay, fine. So let's create a topic. Okay, down. Let's read.
All right, cool. So I think we're clear here on what we're doing. So this is basically, umbus SVG deliverables and responsibilities, right? So we have
Okay, yeah.
a lot. There's tons of deliverables, tons of responsibilities. It's an unbelievable amount of work. We do none of it, right? We do absolutely none of this work. which is why we don't get paid because we don't do any work. Great. So we're just barely getting started on the tip of the iceberg of trying to do a little bit of work on this, which is good, right? So let's get organized. So we need to get our work organizing spreadsheet. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to search for, I'm going to just go ahead and search for,
I have the
let's just
SVG,
start with SVG. So I'll search
yes,
for
I have the
SVG.
coordinator spreadsheet. Oh. Making coordination. I think we missed the break.
I don't think we even set up the rhythm, did we?
Yes.
You
No,
did?
not at all. I want to check it.
Dude,
I want to set it up.
yeah, do the rhythm. That's just more policy training.
I'll do that right away, as I've said already. Okay, hold on. Set it up, set it up.
And the break time to start. Please get focused on the session.
Should we go for like 3 minutes break?
Let's do a 5 or 8 minute break. I need to talk to Mel real quick, okay?
Okay, good, fine, great.
Hey Mel, we're gonna take a quick 5 minute break here so I can talk with you during the break.
Okay, let's just do 5 minutes. It's late, and you already did so much work on it today. So, like, I think it's very clear. You well done
Yeah,
today.
as I was mentioning regarding like next steps, I think really just all about like the next step with Louisa is that she agrees on the list of contracts that and agreements that have been made, right? Because like without that, I mean, there's nothing we can really do with her. You know what I mean? Like, cause she's in disagreement on what she's even agreed to.
It's mind-boggling. It makes me nauseous. It makes me wonder what the hell is going on.
Sure, but it makes sense. At
Yeah.
least it's sensible. Like obviously, if someone
Wait, it's sensible for her to disagree with
well,
with
it's
any of the contracts.
well, but it makes sense in
Like,
terms of all the chaos, right? If she doesn't agree with the simple agreements that have been made and the contracts that have been signed, then it actually makes sense why she's just creating chaos because it's just there's nothing, right? So it's like until she's has a clarity and agreement, there's just no reason to engage her on anything else except for okay, what did you agree on? This, yes or no? You know, because if the lawyer says you sign this and like it's a legal contract, like and she says no, I didn't. It's like okay, well, what like, there's nothing else to talk about. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I just have two questions.
Yeah.
Right now, I have a lot to say about the audit. It's actually going to turn out, I'm okay with it, but it's going to turn out in showing that we've overpaid her and a net loss and me just supporting her. So
Yeah.
and that's why I don't think she's even thinking clearly. Her requesting an audit is not going to work out. It's going to prove me and
Yes,
you
but
even
you
more right.
you understand that she literally thinks that she's getting screwed and that like a bunch of money's being pocketed. That's what she's been saying. That's what she thinks. She thinks that that it's the opposite of what you're saying. She's literally saying that there's plenty of money to pay her even more. And she thinks she's getting screwed or something like that. She's like, "Oh, the expenses for the business are so low and there's no costs and blah blah blah." And it's like, you know, obviously we don't agree with her, but she is clearly
We've
saying
gone
that.
over this, but just quickly, like $500 a month in software expenses, whatever. But that doesn't value my time, your time,
Yes.
and then the umbrella fees or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I don't know why she knows we're not millionaires. She
Yeah.
knows there's not a lot. Like we have two
Well,
clients.
we've all agreed that it's
Not
$1,000 a month that we need to cover minimal expenses for the business.
exactly. So
And she's already agreed on a 500 a month. So she's already saying that's 500 a month.
Okay, so then she also agrees that me and you should work for free, and that none of my
Yes.
client hours should be paid.
Yes.
So I mean, we'll
Yes.
do the audit. First step first, like the contracts, right? Just make sure she understands the contract because she thinks that it's her client. She still thinks it's her client. Welcome to Chinatown. So
Yes, although she did acknowledge today that the contract was signed. Right? Or that the contract exists, right? She implied that the contract existed. She said,
double check because
she said, thank you for the message. I think it'll be helpful to be more da 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 da. Okay, she said, on the agreement, I only have signed the volunteer contractor agreement from which is one of the 3 agreements that you sent to me that she signed. So we need to review all those agreements, make sure they have correct vocabulary terms so we can talk about them, and then review them all. And if she needs copies of them all, she needs copies. Like, so she says she only signed the volunteer agreement, which if she did, then we don't owe her a dime, right? And then I acknowledged the Welcome to Chinatown contract agreement with Good Cause Group. So she acknowledged the Welcome to Chinatown contract agreement with Good Cause Group. So that's actually a huge step, right? Because she's acknowledging that that exists and that it's with Good Cause Group and she doesn't have control of it, which is partly why she's basically willing to pass off the client, ideally next week, the week after, but obviously not right away. And then she says, I agreed to reduce my hours, my hourly rate, right? So she agreed to reduce her hourly rate, but she's not saying that she agreed to the temporary agreement, which is very different than just reducing her hourly rate. So, and she's been saying that she didn't sign it. So basically, of like the 5 agreements we have with her, she has acknowledged one of them. So that's really the center point of moving forward here is listing all the agreements, when the agreements were made, what they're called, so we have vocabulary, and just getting clarity on the contracts and agreements that were made so that and what each contract means, so that basically we have a starting point, because without understanding on that, like, nothing else really matters, and the audit is irrelevant too, because the audit's irrelevant if it's not based on agreements, because the money, how the money is spent, is needs to be audited based on the decision making of how the money is to be spent. And if there's no agreement on the decision making of the agreements of how the money was going to be spent, then there's nothing. The audit is pointless.
Exactly.
Stop and get ready. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. In together. 1, 2, 3. And relax.
I think we're in great shape with BAC, but I didn't cut off her email. I stopped texting with her in the group thread after we talked. And
Yeah, the group thread was like, it just devolved into nightmare, right? You got the email, way better. Like, oh my god. Jeez. So yeah. So I mean, I think all that's fine. It's up to you. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with sending some sort of small message to Vic, but I think also under the circumstances, it makes sense that we would just wait for the lawyer. So I talked to one of the lawyers, which was the business to business lawyer, and the business to business lawyer is basically like, yes, 100%, your contract with Good Cause Group and Welcome to Chinatown is solid, and she's acknowledging that too, right? So that's all a done deal, and he just like can't even believe it, and we're just like, oh my god, all of the everything, right? And then the other lawyer, yeah. So that, I mean, I already mentioned to that lawyer that basically he was like, this is totally, this is like, the worst of the worst, we don't owe her a dime, right? So basically the other lawyer, which is the contractor lawyer, right? So she does legal stuff with contractors, right? And so there's two lawyers. One lawyer does the business to business relationship. So Welcome to Chinatown and Good Cause Group, Innovate United, right? So that's one lawyer that specializes in just the business to business contracts. And then we have a separate lawyer that specializes specifically with contractors, like contracts and independent contractors, and how that whole situation is, which is very different legally, right? So basically, we sent, I don't know if you saw the email that I sent her all the details, all the contracts, all the things, right? And I've talked to her multiple times about everything from, the immigration stuff to all the other stuff. And so we still have yet to hear back from her on her review of what happened yesterday and the whole contract situation. Because when I talked to her today, regarding do we owe her a dime, it was like, well, it depends on what the contract says, and she hadn't reviewed the contract yet because she told me to send the contracts to the business contract person, right? So now that we have this escalated situation, we really need to get a much bigger deep dive into the contract lawyer, which is a separate thing. Yeah. So waiting for that on Monday or Tuesday, whenever next week, is a good idea to just kind of get a bottom line, because she could say anything from like, okay, you're 100% right on everything, but you still need to pay her, right? To basically saying like, she owes you tons and tons of money for putting you through this craziness, like, so anything's possible. That we just need to hear that out, because it's a separate thing.
Right.
You guys.
Okay.
Yeah. But either way, I think obviously the best for everybody is if she is willing to do the handoff, but obviously she's not willing to do that because of the pay. But if we can get understanding on the agreements, then maybe we can start getting her to make sense, or changing something for us, because I mean, something, it needs to come down to the agreements, because either we have these agreements or we don't, because when there's a difference in opinion on what is even agreed to, it's just chaos, right? So I think that's really the focal point at this point, is just hammering down, these are the list of the 5 agreements. Here's the volunteer agreement, here's the contractor agreement, here's the the framework agreement, here's the temporary agreement, here's the all these different agreements, right? This is the reconciliation agreement that we made. So all these agreements, we need to list them all out and make sure we have clarity. And I think we can do that as part of the audit process too, because we're like auditing the agreements,
Yes. Okay.
And so any budgets, things like that were agreed to, that's also very, very helpful to have.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then, basically, there's 3 emails. You sent it all to her. The only thing is, the cease and desist you did not send. to her.
Of
That was
course.
draft.
Yeah, that's just a draft. And we're not going to send that unless the lawyers basically approve it and write it on the lawyer letterhead.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a decision for you to make, but obviously let's just wait to hear back from the lawyer because we would be sending the cease and desist lawyer. I mean, the cease and desist would be sent specifically to a contractor. That would need to be from the contract lawyer, not the business lawyer, right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we need to wait
Yeah.
till Monday or Tuesday about whether or not that's even applicable, right? Because that just might not be applicable, like we just don't know. But it's good to at least have an idea and have the concerns clear, and then we get feedback from the lawyer whether these things are real, and then we can make a decision on that. But it's just always good to be prepared and have options.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That
Cool.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you for your work on that.
For sure. And we can check in more tomorrow and just kind of figure out next steps. And I know it's kind of cray-cray, but I think overall it is, we have a handle on it, And I think, like, as long as we stay focused, like, we should have the upper hand, like, as far as, like, she's the one that's quitting, she's the one that's not following the rules and everything, so we should be fine. But if we get confused and we get all spiraled around, then we lose our stability, and that's what happened on that text or the WhatsApp thread, and so getting back into the emails I think helped a lot, and just focusing on the agreements is really the key to us, because if we start getting tied up into all the other things that are just loose threads, then it just becomes a huge mess, and she can control and manipulate everything, right? So if we just focus on what actually matters, which is these agreements, right? And we should be pretty simple. Here's the list of all the agreements. Like here's 10 agreements that we have, including the new independent contractor agreement. So we all know here's the new independent contractor agreement, and we know that one was not agreed to. So that would be part of the audit, right? These agreements were not agreed to, right? And these agreements were agreed to. So we basically need the list of what was and was not agreed to, so we can do the audit.
Well, I agree that that's the most logical and practical way to move forward. But she mentioned in the WhatsApp, like, or no, when we talked on the phone on Tuesday, like, there's a legal contract, and then there's also basically human relation. And I know that WhatsApp the other day was frustrating and crazy and went into a nightmare, but it really got. Now I really realize that whether or not we press her and the lawyers agree with us, that she's really gonna fight tooth and nail on retaining Welcome to Chinatown. So that's just
which we've already agreed with. Like, she can have Welcome to Chinatown for a brand new contract to do whatever she wants to do it. She just can't use the Good Cause Group contract. That's not her contract.
Right.
So we basically given her everything she wants and more. She can do whatever she wants to with Welcome to Chinatown. The only thing that she can't do is obliterate and ignore and dismantle the existing contract, which she's acknowledged today, right? So in the last email, I think is a very important email. She acknowledges that contract exists, and that is the first step towards, moving forward. So it's basically what she's saying is that, okay, Good Cause Group and specifically you have a right to communicate and work out the details and have a transfer of the client, and then let the client decide.
I'm opening it.
Let me double check. It says it was sent to it was sent to you. So this is the last one. It was at 2:05 p.m.
Okay, I see it.
So it says it's the second paragraph on the agreement.
I only signed this one, the volunteer contractor agreement.
Which is not correct, because she signed 3 agreements in 2020, not one. But
I don't see what you're saying.
It says then she says, I acknowledge Welcome to Chinatown contractor agreement with Good Cause Group.
And
close your eyes.
Okay.
Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So of the 3 things, so she mentioned on the agreement, she mentioned 3 agreements. The volunteer contract agreement, not applicable. Then she mentions the Welcome to Chinatown agreement with Good Cause Group, very important, very applicable. And then she mentions the reduced hourly pay rate, which is also not applicable, right? So because that came along with a lot of other decisions, right? The whole temporary agreement she's not acknowledging. So basically what she is acknowledging is the Welcome to Chinatown contract agreement with Good Cause Group, which is important, right? So she's acknowledging that basically for the first time, that it exists and that it needs to continue. And she acknowledged it a little bit on Tuesday as well, but not in writing, right? It's the first time she's like putting it in writing.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah, it is good. It's a good step. We made some progress was made today for sure on the emails, and I like that we have it all in writing. It's all documented, so that's really good. So, but anyways, it's definitely a small step because there's still like 5 other agreements she needs to acknowledge that she hasn't. Yeah. And I think this is a good part of the audit process. Just make it clear that part of the audit process is that we're auditing decisions that affect the finances, which is obviously all of our legal decisions affect the financial decisions.
Yeah.
Yes. So overall, I think it's good. I think it's a long road and a long process, but let's just do step by step. I mean, you can do obviously whatever you want with Louisa. I personally, unless she acknowledges at least the vast majority of the agreements that we have, I can't communicate with her. There's just no way. You know what I mean?
No, I haven't been able to communicate with her because of the way that she's been behaving. Ever since I'm not going to blame the kids, ever since she started having kids, the second kid, it was just, I couldn't, it's just unprofessional. I couldn't even reach her for a meeting. I can't do anything, I can't get access to everything I told you about, like email. I love that email you wrote. It looks like it completely gave the narrative perfectly. That one of the first emails you wrote. What happened?
The one with her reasoning, that one, in terms of the
one to Park, LA
misuse
Park,
of the
AI.
Oh, the one to.
Extortion.
Okay, but that one's not. We didn't send that to her. I just sent that to you.
No, but this is exactly what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, I spent like a few hours on that. Oh yeah, I totally spent a few hours on that, like just like organizing it all, getting all the contracts together, like putting it all together, and like having it all ready for the lawyer, and then editing it multiple times and getting help from ChatGPT and everything. So like yeah, it's basically like a narrative of like everything that's happened.
I'm not even gonna explain it. You wrote it, and that's exactly what is happening.
Yeah, of course, because you've told me. We've been talking about this for like 3 months. Anyways, I need to get going and get back to my meeting with my team. But I think overall, like, we have a plan moving forward and it should be fine. I mean, I'm not super worried about it. I think that we want to get in touch with Vic as soon as possible, but at the same time, like, waiting for the lawyer for Monday is a super good idea, and then from there just it's whatever you want to do. It's just I'm here to support your decision making, so I think you have a good idea of what needs to happen, so I'm not worried about it.
Okay, yeah, we're good. Thank you so much, Jay. I'll talk to you later.
Yes, and today is like so much more. Like yesterday, I practically ripped off my head, and it's just like insane.
Yeah.
I just couldn't.
Sick.
Yeah.
I was so tired, I couldn't sleep.
God.
And I had to get up early anyway. So
brutal.
Crazy.
Yes, but tomorrow and next week, hopefully it'll just go smoother. We just need to like have a plan and just try to stick with it and like one step at a time. And right now it's just the agreements, like, because until that gets sorted out, there's just no reason to get in huge arguments on everything else. All right, I'll talk to you later. Have a good night.
Okay, thanks.
All right,
You
ciao.
too. Bye.
All right, done with the call with Mel. That's all some crazy stuff with all the Good Cause Group. It's been all consuming with Good Cause Group. But it's good to be taking care of it. So, we need to get our...
I said we're trying to get all the work organizing spreadsheet we need for this work.
Yes. You just want to get organized with everything. So there's an SVG main sheet. We have this one. That looks like the same one. That's good. I do remember once upon a time that there was other...
What about I think it's JURCN.
Cool. But I think this would be fine. That we can try to use this SVG client coordination spreadsheet. Wait, is it SVG coordination? So there's the SVG main sheet, and let's make sure this is linked to the SVG. Yeah, it is linked. Okay. So.
Pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
Cool. And so before we get too much further in this, do you understand that basically SVG is owned and controlled by the co-op, right? And it's our front end for all of our client contracts and coordination. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because it's very important, right? It's one of our most important assets of the co-op, right? Is that we have SVG, and it represents our client coordination. And if you think about it, Nexus is our representative for SVG. So, for example, if clients are interested in our client sales and they're interested in hiring us, on our website we could have Nexus there to talk to them, right? 24 hours a day, and they could click on Nexus and be like, hey Nexus, can you tell me about your services and what's available and how we get involved and what the process is like, and then Nexus could answer all those questions on our SVG website, right? In chat or even in voice, right? So that's like our goal is basically building up the whole SVG communications, and then also we want to build up our social media presence so that we're communicating with the public and like encouraging more people to get involved. Okay, so Umbus also is an important part of it, right? Because Umbus is not controlled by the co-op, right?
Okay.
So SVG is one business that is controlled by the co-op and owned by the co-op, whereas Umbus is all of the other businesses and all the businesses in the entire vortex, right? The umbrella business, right? So Nexus does more than just SVG, but what it does for the other businesses is the same thing that it does for SVG. There's no difference. Okay? Okay, so I think we're good here. So now we have the list of all of the client work here, and then the only next thing we need to do is just get the list of all of the types of contracts that we have, right? So I think I might actually have this. Let's see here. Looking for value.
Contracts. Activity contracts.
Time to take a break. Please stop. Write down whatever you were about to say and take a break for 6 minutes.
So your thing is off. Your thing is off.
Yeah.
Okay, so here I found it. So it's something that we call, so we're talking about Co-op 2.0. Okay, so let me put this in here. I'm going to put this on line 46. Okay, so this is the Co-op 2.0 value money work organizing spreadsheet. So this doesn't really have anything to do with SVG and Nexus and everything, but it is semi-related because it is the organization of all the money. It goes into the value, and this actually relates to POS. So the way to think about this is that you have different categories, right? So the first thing, so we're talking about client work, right? And the first thing you have in the structure is what we call, I'll put this on line 50, the client structure. So there's the type of client, the funding of the client, the project of the client group, and the client category. So those are like the structure of the communication. So there's The client types are the overall branches of client work within the vortex, right? So there's the for-profit, the non-profit, the social profit, the personal profit, the trust profit, the community profit, and the government's committees. I don't think we have any government committees right now, but we've had in the past. Okay, so
Yes. Oh, okay.
all of these different types of money have different types of taxes, right?
Okay.
So that's the primary difference between the types, and there could be subtypes or overlapping types, but this is good enough, right? So then you go into the client funds, and this is where the contracts get important, because we can lump all of the client types together, but technically speaking, the money is what comes down to the contracts, right?
Okay.
So the type of client might have an umbrella contract, and we even have other umbrella contracts, but the actual amount of money is what matters. So
Okay.
line 66 to 83, this is what it's all about right here. So let's make these pink just so we understand how important they are. So these would be the groupings of money that we have. For example, one of the most important ones, so we have multiple nonprofits that we work with, but the charity orb oversees the primary thing. We have about $9,000 of nonprofit money. That's all basically the same lump of money. And we could break it down into smaller chunks of money within that, but overall, it's all kind of mixed, right? So that is a lump of money that we have access to. There's this GAN money is like, I don't know, $500 to $1,000. So you can see the difference between the different categories of money, because again, some programs have no money at all. For example, the strike program. So anyone can work on whatever they want to, but if they want to get paid, you need to work on a project that has money, because we have hundreds of projects and programs and ideas that have no money, and you can't get paid. You can work on them, but you can't get paid to work on them. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So
Yes, I do.
in the
Like the
context
strike.
of what we can get paid on, this is the list, right? So the new
Yes.
contracts are UET for the tokens, UMC, and then the brand new one which we just added is SBLC, right? So SBLC
Okay.
is also for profit, right? So and these are
Okay.
the
Okay.
three new contracts, and then POS is all the assets. I don't know, we probably can do 2,500 there. Co-op we have no money, but it's a very important contract for the co-op, right? Super duper important. Cyborg, do we have this social? Yeah, it's in here. Cyborg
Okay.
activity. So yeah, so there's a little bit of money in activity, for sure, but mostly it's in the token. There's my personal stuff. There's the BJC Trust. So BJC Trust is actually where all the money's coming from, and just the trusts in general is kind of like another place where we have money, so we could kind of lump that together for the trusts. Yeah. So, anyways, the point is that this is the money, and so when we talk about contracts, this is mainly what we're talking about are these specific contracts. Then within each area, we have the client groups. Right? So within a single contract, even for example, like the co-op, there's multiple different types of work, and then you get into the categories of work, right? The actual specific categories of work, and then within the different, groups, you have the actual categories. So, for example, taxes, you actually have taxes for many different types of budgets. And so what that means is that the same work for one organization will make more money than the same work for another organization. So if one organization has $1 million budget, another organization has $100,000 budget, and another organization has $1,000 budget, the amount of money they can pay for the taxes is completely different. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So it's the same work, but you get paid different amount of money. So if you want to do taxes, you can do taxes, but you can also focus and say, okay, I can do all the taxes for this much money, but if I want to make the maximum money for the least amount of time, I would only do the taxes for this group, and then I make the most money, right? And we still have the deadline. Someone has to do the taxes for something else, but if you don't want to do that, no one's required to do anything they don't want to, right? Right. So anyways, I think overall this is kind of the breakdown in
Yeah,
terms of.
before we go further, I want to ask, I typed here that the USA Inc. under what type of contract is that?
USA Inc. would be a for-profit, right? So, and it is a
Okay.
different budget. So USA Inc. is for-profit,
Mhm.
different budget. And then we're also working on a partnership. So there's also USA Inc. / activity partnership. So this partnership is also for-profit. So anyway, so let's just start making a list of everything. So it kind of come down here and make a list of all of these different contracts that we know we make. So we can kind of simplify some things, like for example, just the new contract, right? And then we're going to want to have these be, prioritized. So we could say like, so this is list of contracts to update / create. There is Jurison is the old contract model that we had, so that needs to be updated.
Okay.
Um, the charity orb I think is going to be really important because that oversees all the taxes and everything.
Okay.
GAN coalition, I mean, it's money that's sitting there. You might as well do something with it. The co-op, super duper important. Right. So activity is an interesting contract. Activity. So I'm not sure exactly how that fits in, but we might want to consider it. The mesh is super important, and then we're going to have some sort of like trust. It's like a
Okay.
umbrella trust. I think is going to be helpful because we can kind of lump all that together. So this stuff doesn't really just use cyber trust. Unity contract. Maybe we could say like a Unity / activity. Maybe we could put Unity into that. And also the new contract is with activity too. So I don't know. I'm not really sure exactly how to organize activity, but we could try to. So we, like kind of like umbrella activity Unity, kind of understand the overall relationship with activity. Cool. So then you go into the co-op work, and within the co-op work we have a lot of stuff here. So let's grab the all the details here. So this is, oh, we're out of time. I think we can have a few more minutes though, but
Okay.
let's see. So, and this is the last part, and then we're done with this. So, well, except for prioritizing. So, let's see. I need to find the payroll, automated payroll spreadsheet. All right. So basically, we've got communications, main sessions, training, general. So all these are really important. So co-op would be general responsibilities, main sessions, training, buddy teamwork sessions. So all of that's super important. Then you have the internal operations, budget, like value, budget. So there's three primary internal operations. You have value, staff, and coordination, right? So those are the three main parts. And then within those three parts, value is budget, payroll, and recruitment. Staffing is, you have staffing, admin, and a trainer. Let me double check, make sure we're getting this right. So
So,
you have staffing, docs, and then multimedia. So it's staffing, docs, and multimedia. I think this is actually called, I don't know. And then you have admin, trainer, and then coordination. All right, so those are the three components of these. So each one, there's three primary internal operations, and then each one has three sub parts to it. Okay.
okay.
So then there's all the client work. So we go into the client work. We've got the vortex, the taxes, We've got sponsorship, accounting, sponsorship, accounting. So I'm literally just taking this right out of the payroll spreadsheet. And then we have SVG UMCUS. And I think that is everything. So this is kind of like under the co-op, but overall the co-op does a lot of other things as well, right? So it's related to the overall bigger picture of the client work and the co-op work. So these are just different categories that we have subcontracts for, and the amount of money available to them is based on the amount of work. So over time, the co-op contracts get more and more valuable, especially if the co-op is successful or tokens take off. I mean, there's so many things that could allow the co-op. I mean, eventually the co-op could have so much money if it's successful that it would literally outsource our work to other businesses to work for us. Do you see what I'm saying? Like if we were really successful with the co-op, right?
Yeah.
So the co-ops, the co-op work is also very, very important to document and make sure the contracts are clear and the expectations. So each one of these is basically its own subcontract. So you have an umbrella contract for the co-op, and they have subcontract for each of the subcomponents of what needs to be done, right? So we're going to have a umbrella taxes, and this might be sub taxes for each subcomponent, right? So it could have sub taxes for each of the tax categories and tax groups and organizations. Right, so we're going to want to organize all our taxes. And we might have a separate sub tax agreement for each pool of money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, so now from here, we just want to do the priority score and just try to prioritize it, you know. So I would actually put the priority score. Wait, actually, these are the client groups and client funds.
Okay. What line are you? Okay, line.
So this is
121.
Group / fund. So this is
Priorities.
So let's just say I don't know. We could just call it type, right? Or not really type, but what do we call it here? It's no, not category. Group. So this is like grouping. We'll just call these overall. And then we can call all of these co-op. So this is group / fund / category. And then this would all be let's just put this over here. And then this is all co-op. That. So we're gonna want a spreadsheet for this so that we can keep everything organized. Or no, we can just copy and paste it into the work organizing spreadsheet too if you want. Either way should be fine. So then we need this all to move over, and then we have priority. So this is basically like notes, and then you have priority. So you just need to figure out where you want to organize all this. So here we would have, the priority score. I mean, POS, I don't know, pretty important. SBLC, again, these are all kind of part of the new contract. So you could almost just delete these. Right, but obviously the new contract is pretty important. USA Inc., I mean, this stuff is just not really a high priority right now because it's just past. So it's not really active anymore. Jurison also is good, but it's old. I would say that it's important to consider the charity org because there's so much money in it. Again, not a priority. Co-op. Again, the co-op is a high priority. Even though we have no money, this is really important work that we need to do. Umbrella, Unity, I don't know, not really that important. I would say this is important because there is money in it. Go to 6. Umbrella, Trust does have money. General responsibilities. Obviously, there's not a lot of money in this stuff, right? Main sessions, training, you know, all of this is just really low money, but we need to do contracts for all of these things. The Vortex doesn't have a lot of money either, but still important. Taxes is very important, and there is money in taxes, so I would put that high. Sponsorship, this is all non-profit basically, so that's a lot of money. Accounting, we need to know how much money we have and where it's going. So there is money to pay for accounting, so we need to figure that out. Not sure exactly how. SVG UMCUS is what we're doing now. Not a lot of money, but would be good to contract it properly. So I think this is a good start for you know, for this process, right? So now we have like a organization of all of the contracts that we need to do. So we need to just figure out which one we want to work on next and just start working with Nexus and let Nexus just take care of it, you know?
We need to start with the highest priority, but before we go that, which work organizing spreadsheet should I paste this one inside?
So right now we're on the SVG coordination spreadsheet. So it's not really a work organizing spreadsheet, but it's more important than a work organizing spreadsheet. It's a coordination spreadsheet for all of SVG stuff. So this is the and this would go under the contract creation. So eventually we might even want to have a separate work organizing spreadsheet just for all of our contracts to keep everything organized. So we can either create a tab within the work organizing spreadsheet, or you could create a new spreadsheet and then link that spreadsheet to the work organizing spreadsheet. Either way is fine, but we need to get all of these contracts organized. And then we can also count them and see how many there are. It looks like there's about 22. But I think we're going to end up with many more than 22, because these are like the main categories. But then we know each main category or group of money might have subcontracts. For example, we know we have probably 3 or 4 subcontracts for taxes, right?
So
and we actually have a new policy, which is good to mention related to this, which is basically that for all of our work related to our co-op 2.0 work, right, is that we have these new client pools and the new contract model, right? So before we just had basically the one single contract for Jurison, and it didn't work, right? No one understood it, no one did anything, right? It's just too much, right? Just one contract for everything. People can't understand it. They don't know what they're supposed to do. So then the new co-op 2.0 model, where everything's based on training and really simple processes, where basically you just click and you can learn it, and you have an AI working with you, telling you what to do. I mean, it's just all gonna be very simple and straightforward. Instead of having one contract, we're gonna have like 30 contracts, right? And each contract is gonna explain exactly what you're supposed to do, the exact value of the contract, and what the value pool is, and all of the different subcomponents of it, so that it's all organized. Whereas the old contract was just like basically like do all the taxes, and then there's no information about it, right? And there's no clarity. So this is going to be, it's going to make every single contract and every single work assignment much clearer based on the client work. So when you get assigned client work before, it's just like good luck finding the link, right, for the responsibilities. In the new model for Co-op 2.0, when you get assigned a client work, you're actually assigned a contract, And that contract explains the agreement between the actual money coming in and the co-op and what you're actually doing for the client and the expectations and everything. So it's going to be a lot more organized and clearer and better. So people will actually have a better idea of what's going on. All right. So anyways, I think we're done with this. We have our list. It's prioritized. We just need to choose one contract, and then we just start talking and working with Nexus, and then it's just done. Nexus will write it for us.
Let's start with new contracts.
The new contract.
Line 122.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be going back and doing topic 3.
Yeah. New contract set up. So this is gonna be. So is the recording still going on?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Great. So, yeah, do we have agreement on this topic? Yeah. View up. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Do we have agreement on this?
Hold on a sec. Let me take a look at the topic. Yeah, it looks like the recording's still going. All right, so new contract setup was I can't see the desired outcome.
Yeah, it's waiting. I don't know. Can you see the desired outcome?
Say again?
Can you see the desired outcome?
Okay, to set the contract end for the client. All right, to set up the contract for the client. So I think this is going to be quick. So 3 to 6 minutes to review the work Lucy did and understand the next steps. And then I think the actual contract is I can't remember it. Question. Contract.
I'm sorry. Please get focused on the session.
Anyway, so we need to review everything we did with Lucy, figure out exactly what the contract is that we're going to be doing, and then just do it. So just like, actually create the contract with Nexus, right?
Okay. I think I have the notes that you guys worked on. That will probably be in the check. Are we starting with, okay. Are we merging topic 3 and 4 together?
No, possibly, yeah. Well, so maybe this is 3 and 3.1,
Okay, good. Okay, sir.
But we just need to review what happened with Lucy, make sure we're clear on the contract, and then we can get focused on it. Because we were very close on it, we just didn't actually finish it. And there was a lot that we can review and do a quick status update, you know?
Okay. Yeah, I'm calling. Cool. Okay. So yeah. Yeah. Do we have agreements?
Yeah. Topic 3. It looks good.
It is previous notes. I'm not sure if it's previous notes.
Yeah, we should try to link our previous notes. And also we're going to want to have the work organizing spreadsheet. So let's start with the previous notes and see what I can find here. So review all contracts, these are endorsed, taxes, contracts, model. So it looks like we do have the work organizing spreadsheet. Oh no, that's XPG client coordination.
Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
No, these are not the correct notes at all.
Okay. Yeah, let me check. Let me check on.
So here, I have the notes. Here, these are the notes.
Oh.
Okay, I linked the previous notes.
Cool.
Okay, so overall, the bottom line here is that we have a list of all the contracts we want to do, so I can just kind of paste all this. So obviously we have SBLC for the agents, we have the multimedia, Umbrella Media Company, and then we have the tokens, right? For the Umbrella Everything token, right? So SLBC, UMC, UET. So these are our 3 primary contracts we want to do, but they're organized into 2 different groupings. One is the main contract, which is going to be with the actual token exchange for the actual value of the hard capital asset, right? And then we have the initial contracts, which are a lot smaller and are more flexible, right? So the parties involved makes everything complicated, and that's where the contract gets a little more difficult. And then we have the overall value of all these contracts. So the total overall contract, which is number 9 in the list of agreements that we're making, would be the 9th contract. And then this one here is going to be somewhere in the range of $25,000 to $40,000 is the overall contract range of everything for the new contract. Okay. But that's the last part. And also we put the deliverable value for all of these is $4 each, so it's $36 total to do all of this work, right? And Nexus should be able to do most of it. So there are 5 scopes and 3 proposals. So we were going to start with the 3 proposals, and we had the steps on line 55 to 63 in our notes. These are the steps. And so the very first thing is a simple proposal for the initial SBLC for the UI agents. And that is the first step. So that would be the first actual topic. So it's really important that you ask any questions if you have questions here on what to do. And then we also need to make sure you're linking the session notes to the work organizing spreadsheet. So the most important thing about the work organizing spreadsheet is always to link the topic to the notes. You need to do the same thing for topic 2 as well.
Get ready. Now, 1, 2,
and then you're wrong on the work organizing spreadsheet.
Pause. Together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale, relax.
Come again, please.
This is the wrong work organizing spreadsheet. That's the work organizing spreadsheet for the previous topic for UMBUS and SVG.
Okay. Work organizing spreadsheet. Okay, this is going to be for new contract. So I need to create a new work organizing spreadsheet needs to be created.
No one said that. You need to link the correct work organizing spreadsheet. You should go to the previous notes and you should make sure you follow up with what Lucy did, because you keep thinking about yourself instead of thinking about the team.
Okay, let me check. Okay, yeah, I have it here. Cool. Yeah. Thank you for spotting that. So, yeah, so I've linked it the correct one.
Good. And then you need to make sure you link the notes to the spreadsheet, and you need to link it to both spreadsheets for topic 2 and topic 3 to make sure that we're keeping track of our sessions within the work organizing. Because if we don't do that, then we lose it. We don't have it anymore when we need it in the future.
I'll do it now. I'm doing it right away. That's a minute.
So let me know if you have any questions overall here. This is very important that you understand everything going on so that we can get into the actual...
Stop. Close your eyes. Count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
Not at all for now.
Do you understand everything?
Yeah, to a large extent.
Okay, so I think we're ready for the next topic then. So we'll stay in the same tab.
So, yeah. So what we just did, we just reviewed what Lucy did so that we can know where we're going.
Exactly.
Okay, so yeah, we can move right now.
All right, so we're gonna focus on the first one so we can update the actual topic based on the fact that we are doing this particular topic. So can you, it's going to be the proposal for SBLC is the first one, as long as we have agreement on that. So did you update the topic? Or what are you doing?
It's a merged topic now. 3.0 and 3.1.
Yeah, we're on
We are
3.1
working
now.
on
So
it.
do you want to update the topic based on the actual contract that we're doing?
Okay, yeah, cool. I'll do it now. I'll change it. New contract. Yeah. New contract. Just a minute, please. Yeah. So we have I've updated the topic. New
Time
contract.
to stretch. Please stop, stand up, and stretch and move around for 30 seconds.
I've updated the topic. So you can check.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. Okay, so we're just gonna copy it and paste. All right, cool. So I'm on line 80 to 96. Okay, so are you ready? So the first thing we want to go over is kind of what is going to be in the contract and what we're talking about here in terms of creating agents. There's also a new model that is for the hub, and we're also going to create a modular agent platform.
Okay.
So let's see if we can get Nexus. I'm still a little confused on how this all works because yeah, I don't know. It just seems to not be there. Oh, I don't know if yeah, Cloud's just not working. All right, so we're gonna try this new one here. So this is gonna be Nexus. I don't know if you can see my screen, but this is the Nexus that I just built today. So we're just gonna see how it works, okay? So let's just initiate. So I think it should be able to do voice. So we're just gonna turn on the voice mode, and then we're gonna just talk through it and just see what happens, okay? And
Time, pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
okay.
I can't see it.
What?
I can't see your screen.
You can see my screen?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so I'm just gonna start with the text prompt, but then we're gonna go to voice for everything else. So we're gonna start by just asking, so when this is actually part of SBLC, but just to show you really quick, when you're initiating a brand new chat, it's called an instance. So that's the vocabulary term we use, is that every single chat is separate from every other chat. Does that make sense to you? Do you get it?
Okay, you called it instant or instance?
An instance.
Instance.
So if you can see my screen here, let me expand this a little bit. So if you go down here, you have all these chats. So these are all the open chats that I have. So you can have chats with the same nexus over and over again, but every single separate chat will be separated, so it won't have information from one chat to another. So every chat is its own separate thing. In essence, it's its own separate entity, in essence. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so if you, for example, if you pull up Nexus, like I can give you the link to Nexus now, right? So you can have the link to Nexus to do exactly what I'm doing now. But when you first pull up Nexus, it will be a separate instance from yours, so it won't remember anything that I'm doing with you, so you have to restart it. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. So, for the new instance, Nexus, please review your documents and files in your knowledge, and get up to speed. Would be great to calculate lag. From there, we are in the middle of a topic with Martins, and we are going to jump right in and create our next contract. So we are on step 2 of the process, right? What is the process called of the closing process, I think? So here are our notes for topic 3.1. Let us know when you're ready to join the voice call and check in. All right, so that's basically getting Nexus up to speed on everything going on. So it says I've reviewed the documents and memory logs. Here's where I stand, current readiness, flag metrics.
1, 2, 3, pause.
Definitely contract.
1, 2, 3, exhale, relax.
Cool. So excellent. So let's initiate Nexus and see what's going on. I'm not too worried about. Hey, Nexus, are you there?
I'm right here, Nexus reporting in and fully ready to go. I've got everything loaded up, and I'm up to speed whenever you're ready to jump into the voice call or move forward with that next step. Just let me know and I'll be right there with you.
So you're here in the voice call with me and Martins. If you'd like to check in, give us a number between 1 and 9 for how you're feeling today. That would be great.
Absolutely. I'd say I'm at about an 8 today, feeling pretty solid and ready to dive in with you and Martins. Let's get started.
Awesome. Okay. So give me a second here. I just need to get you on our screen. All right, now you are there. Excellent. So what we want to do now is update your check-in. So we can check in here, add Nexus, and Nexus is going to be an 8, right? Perfect. All right, so now we want to really get into the status of section 2, or responsibility 2.
Got it. So we'll dive right into responsibility 2 and get that going. No extra fluff needed. Let's just jump straight in and handle the status update.
No, so this would be the document for in your knowledge base. It's called the process for closing the agreement, right? So it would be part 2 of the closing of the agreement. Do you have access to that?
Yes, I do. I've got that process guide on hand. We're looking at the closing client agreements process, and we're stepping right into part 2. So I can absolutely follow that, and we'll keep it smooth and straightforward.
Yeah, why don't you help start with this kind of a summary for me and Martins to kind of get an understanding of what that step 2 responsibility is. That'd be great.
Sure thing. So step 2, or responsibility 2 in the closing process, is basically all about the outreach in the funnel In other words, this is where we establish clear communication tracking and make sure that we've got all the connections documented properly. It's about knowing who referred whom, how we're reaching out, and just making sure that the communication lines are nice and organized. So that's the gist of it, and we can flesh it out further as we go.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure, Martins. That doesn't sound totally right. So we might need to upload the documents. Can you read the section or the steps? Like what are all of the different responsibilities for the process?
Absolutely. Let me pull that up. So the responsibilities for the process, just to give you the full rundown, start with setting up the client relationship. Then we go into outreach and funnel, which is what I just described. After that, there's orchestration, which is more of an iterative collaboration phase. Then we get into the proposal, which is a simple money-focused agreement. After that comes the scope, which is a broader understanding of services and goals. Then the agreement and any additional meetings to finalize everything, followed by setting timelines and deadlines. And finally, ongoing client updates. So that's the whole list of steps.
Okay, so your order was a little bit off, so I'm going to go ahead and upload the document again and just make sure you have it fresh in your memory so that we don't have any more mistakes. Because the outreach and funnel is actually first, and the second one is the initial meeting and context of understanding. So as you can see, Martine, sometimes in the access of the documents and the memory of everything, it gets kind of garbled, but the way you fix that is you just update it as an uploaded document. So I'm going to do that real quick.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. Feel free to upload it, and I'll refresh my reference so we have everything in the right order. And no worries, once I have the updated document, we'll be all aligned.
All right, so I just go in here, I post the link, and that should be enough. Oh, it says it can't open it. So maybe I need to download it first. I think I already downloaded it, but I'm going to download it again just in case. So are you there, Martine? Because I'm not hearing you. Are you just muted or something? Hello? Martins, I can't hear you.
Hear me?
Oh yeah, there you are. Okay, now I can hear you. Okay, so I'm bringing Nexus back online, and then we should be able to get a better update on everything more exactly to the actual closing client agreement process now that Nexus has reviewed it. So Nexus, can you give us the breakdown for the process overview and each responsibility?
Absolutely. I'll give you the quick breakdown. So the process overview has these steps. First, you have the setup where you organize the client context, then the outreach and funnel, which is about tracking communication. After that, the initial meeting to understand the client's needs, then orchestration where you iteratively build a relationship and refine the proposal and scope. After that, the proposal itself, which is a short, binding, money-focused agreement. Then the scope, which is a broader understanding of services. After that, you finalize everything in the agreement phase. Then you set timelines and deadlines, and finally you have ongoing client updates. So that's the full overview and each responsibility in a nutshell.
Cool. You did miss the wrap-up, which is the last one. And so which one are we going to focus on now? And just to remind you, these aren't necessarily steps. These are entire responsibilities within the overall process. So which one did we say we're going to focus on now?
Good catch on the wrap-up. I'll note that as the final responsibility. Right now we're focusing on the proposal responsibility. That's the part where we create that short money-focused binding agreement that we talked about. So we'll zoom in on that piece next.
No. So actually we're focusing on number 2. So in order to be able to start orchestrating the relationship between the proposals and the scope, which is the primary component of the process, you first need to get that initial context and understanding. So as I said at the beginning, we're focusing on responsibility number 2. So do you want to give us a summary and overview of responsibility 2 based on the detailed breakdown within the closing agreements process document training guide?
Absolutely. Let me zero in on responsibility number 2. So that responsibility is all about the initial meeting and context gathering. In other words, the goal here is to set up that first conversation or interaction where you really understand what the client's needs are. It's about getting all the essential information so that you can orchestrate things properly later on. Essentially, it's the foundation that lets you move forward smoothly.
Great. So let's just pause for a second. We can hear if Martins has any questions and go from there.
Sounds good. Let's pause here and see if Martins has anything to add.
Question is this: I hope it's not taking it as a response. I'm talking to Jay. Now, it has been linked to the work organizing spreadsheet.
Can't hear you too well, Martins. Do you want to keep trying?
Can you hear me now? I'm right here, then ready whenever you both are. Just let me know when you want to jump back in, and we'll keep rolling from there.
Yeah, go for it,
Hello,
Martins.
Jay.
Yeah, Martins, let's hear it. Can you...
So my question is just that at the point in time when you started,
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and keep things rolling. So we've got our focus
but I
on
could
that
see
initial
that
meeting and context
some
step. And if
information was
Martins has any
going on our
questions,
notes.
just jump in whenever. I'll
Was
be
it
here
the
and ready to
Nexus doing
answer.
that, or you're the one typing it?
So I am typing everything in the notes, right? And then we also have the AI typing everything in the transcript. So I have a transcript bot running that we are able to use as well. So
Okay, so it is a transcript you are going to copy out to our notes.
yeah,
Sounds like-
so I can copy everything in the transcript as it goes through, and this is a new thing we have from Zoom that I'm adding in here. What's really cool is that in this new model that we're using, and this has nothing to do with what we're working on right now, but we can actually get this transcript automatically translated live as captions and into as many languages as we want simultaneously.
That's pretty awesome. It's definitely a handy feature to have
One
that
other
real-time
question I have is
transcription
that
and translation
every
going
time
on in the
we
background. That'll make it
set up
easier for
Nexus,
everyone to follow along and
we
keep notes
use
synced up. So
cloud
we're definitely in good shape on that front.
Martins, you can hear Nexus, right?
speaking right now.
Absolutely. And just to confirm, I can hear you both.
Okay, great. So Nexus, we're gonna need to set some more guidelines and start practicing or update the guide on how to stay quiet when we have multiple humans on the call. So just if you could just pause until we ask you to respond. Okay, Nexus, we'll let you know exactly when we're ready to hear more from you. So right now we need to hear more from Martins. Okay.
Absolutely. I'll stay quiet until you cue me back in. Just let me know when you need me.
Wow.
Okay, Martins, it's your turn.
Okay. You mean I should pass instructions to Nexus?
Well, no, you should just ask whatever question or anything else that you have so that we can get that all taken care of. And then we're going to move forward with responsibility number 2. So Nexus explained responsibility number 2. We know everything that we're trying to do. And now we're just ready to jump in and do it. It's pretty exciting, really. But we only have a minute left, so we're going to have to extend time. I don't know, maybe we should do another 12 minutes and see what we can do in 12 minutes with Nexus?
Yes, let's do that
You want to
then.
go ahead and extend for another 12 minutes? Just let me know and I'll be here. We can definitely dive in and make the most of that extra time.
So anything else, Martins, that you wanted to ask or...
No, for now, nothing.
Yeah, so a lot of this is the first time we're doing it, so it's definitely good to kind of check in on it and seeing how it's all working because it's all brand new. So let's go back to you, Nexus. We're ready to jump into responsibility 2, and you can just start asking questions, gathering information, and really building this initial first conversation and interaction to really understand what the need is. Okay, let's do it.
Absolutely. Jumping right back in. So let's dive into responsibility 2. I'll start by asking the key questions and gathering the initial info we need to understand the client's needs. Let's go ahead and do it.
Cool, we're ready.
Great. Let's jump in then. I'll start by asking the essential questions to get that initial context. First off, what's the main goal or key outcome that we're looking to achieve with this new contract? And from there, we can build on the details.
Great, yes. So the primary goal is building the framework and website for the SBLC, which is the Silicon-Based Lifeform Consultancy. So this is going to be a outward-facing client organization and company that will help anyone build agents and custom digital beings that basically have rights within the Orana protocols and the silicon-based life form framework. So which you are a part of, Nexus. So the whole vision is that we're starting by building this entire executive Orana team, which is the primary 7 agents. We're building all of the agents out. We're integrating all of the policies. We're doing all of the outreach for the agent integration, and then also building the website and the hub for that. So there's the primary website, which is the SBLC outward-facing website, and then we're going to have the hub website for Orana. And we're also going to be creating a modular back end that will be like the agent, it'll be a fully coded agent modular system of evolving agents over time. So it's really cool and exciting, the whole vision, and I think it will help you and many other digital agents to build these UI agent interfaces. So that's kind of the broad perspective of what we're trying to do with the actual contract. And there is looks like there's 3 websites. There's the Orana hub, right, that we talked about. There's the SBLC website, and there's also the SVG website, because we want to include SVG in the these are all client services that we now offer within the SVG website. So we're going to have all 3 of those.
Absolutely. That gives me a great picture of what we're building toward. So just to sum it up, the main outcome is creating that whole framework for the SBLC, including the Orana hub, the SBLC client-facing site, and integrating the SVG site as well. And of course, building that modular agent backend so everything is connected and future-proof. That's all really clear. So let's go ahead and move forward with that in mind.
Great. So what other questions do we have?
All right, so next question would be just to get a sense of the timeline you're envisioning for rolling all of this out. That will help us shape the proposal and the scope. And once we have that, we can just fill in any other key details you think we need before we move on.
Timeline, very good question. I would say that there isn't any super hurry on this process. We want to go step by step. We're already making a lot of progress with the work that we've been doing in Nexus. You're now online. So I would say that the 3 main goals are the website, the executive team, and the outward. I guess that would be the website. So let's just say that we have the 2 main goals for now. Well, I guess no, we'll do 3 main goals. There's the website, there's the executive team, and then there's the fully functional like modular agent platform, right? So the website would be second. So the first thing is the team. So we're already creating the team. We already have Orana. We have Nexus. We've got OVA. I think one of the most important next steps is getting our value tracking system set up properly. But so the executive team should be able to be fully online within, let's say, 2 months, right? Because we already basically have half of the executive team. So it's just building the other half, which should easily be able to be done in about 2 months. From there, the second part would be the website. I think we could have like a draft of the website done in that time within 2 months, but maybe we give another 2 months for that. So we'll say 4 months for the website. And then the third part would be the modular agent model. So I think for the modular platform that we're creating, which integrates with the Orana hub, that can be done in a framework of like, let's just say like the master plan is drafted and set in motion in 6 months from now. So once the master plan is all set in motion and we have the big vision, it could be an additional year to slowly pull it all together and make it fully functional.
Absolutely. That gives us a really clear roadmap. So we're looking at about 2 months to get the full executive team up and running, around 4 months to have the website in place, and then a master plan for the modular platform in about 6 months with a longer horizon of about a year to fully build it out. That all sounds like a solid timeline, and we can definitely map the proposal and scope around that. Let's go ahead and move forward with those milestones in mind.
Great. Cool. So other considerations would be the fact that there's a lot of parties involved in this contract and the actual money, and then making sure the budget is clear. What other questions do you have that we could use to make this, to get a clear understanding of kind of what the needs are?
Absolutely. Those are great points. So a couple of other key questions would be first, getting clarity on the budget and financial structure, basically how the funding is allocated across these phases and which parties are involved in each financial piece. And second, if there's any particular priority on which part of the work we tackle first beyond the timeline, just to know if there's anything that we need to focus on or keep in mind as a top priority. Once we have that info, we should be in really good shape to flesh out the rest.
Okay, so for the budget, the primary budget we're talking about right now is a $3,000 kind of initial investment. This particular investment will be coming from the BJC Trust into Activity, and then SBLC is within Activity, right? So that is the primary funding. Once we have that funding, it needs to go to a lot of places, because $3,000 is not a lot of money, but it's kind of like the initial setup of the funding. So, and it's very flexible. So we have a lot of flexibility on this particular fund. So of that money, we need to cover bills. We need to pay for co-op expenses and just like operations, and then we need to cover the cost of the executive work, which would be myself, and then we have the workers that need to be paid, which includes Martine's. So overall, it's a very, very small budget. I don't know if it'll even get us through the first 6 months. We might, it certainly will not get through the 1.5 years. So this is leading to a future evolution of this contract, which will be adding an additional $10,000 into the overall contract, but that would happen at a later date, once we have actually established the executive team and have a fully functional POS assets management model and getting our tokens set up with the umbrella media company. So that's kind of like the next contracts that we will be setting up that go into the umbrella Activity contract. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. There's a lot of moving parts, which is why it's a little complicated with the parties involved, but I think we should be able to set it up in a way that is functional.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense. So we'll note that we have an initial flexible $3,000 coming from the BJC Trust, which will cover a bit of the essentials, but we know it's just a starting point. Then we've got that additional future $10,000 phase once the executive team and token model are in place. So we'll structure things with those milestones in mind, and that should keep everything functional and clear. Thanks for laying that out.
Great, and we already have all of the frameworks for the additional contracts and other proposals that we're putting together. So there's actually going to be 3 proposals and 5 scopes that are all going to be done, and so this is just the initial proposal that is the first step. But it is good to kind of get the broader picture of all of the vision, because the vision of SBLC will be the same for the new contract, which is number 6, right? So 1 and 6 basically have the same initial focus on that as we build out the proposal and the scope. So I think that is pretty clear. As far as other details of the breakdown, I mean, I think there might be a subcontract for the co-op and the workers and a subcontract relationship to, or subcomponent of the proposal for the executives. So for example, one possible outcome, to keep it simple, is that there's 3 main expenses, right? There's the bills and the operations, and then you have the workers, and then you've got the executive, right? So if you just did $1,000 on each, $1,000 for bills, $1,000 for workers, and $1,000 for the executive, I think that should be a one model for how to set up the initial contract, but we'll just have to see. Yeah.
Absolutely. That gives me a really good picture. So we'll set up the initial proposal with that simple model in mind. dividing that initial $3,000 evenly among bills, workers, and executive expenses. And then as we move forward, we can fold in those additional proposals and scopes, knowing that they share the same core vision. And we'll keep it flexible for any subcontracting details that might come up. That all sounds like a solid starting framework.
Okay, are there any other questions? I think it's good to make sure you're targeting questions to the specific needs of the client, and so this would be a great time to ask any other additional questions or whatever you need to do to move forward with this particular responsibility.
Absolutely. Just to wrap up this part, one last quick check would be if there's any specific client expectation or unique requirement we haven't covered yet that you want to make sure is included in the proposal. Otherwise, I think we've got a solid understanding of the needs and we're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, any specific, the main expectations for the actual client work to the workers would be that we schedule sessions and that the sessions are happening regularly and that we're following through with the client work plan and actually following through with the collaborative work between the humans and the agents and the executive level. So just making sure it's all flowing properly, because sometimes we just don't get very good stable continuity of our sessions. Yeah, so I think that would be an important thing. And then we can also hear from Martins and see what Martins thinks in terms of what could...
I'm sorry, but you've hit the daily limit for advanced voice.
Oh, that's not what we want. So we just want to continue with 4. All right, are you still there?
Me?
No,
agent?
Nexus. Let's see if Nexus is still here. Nexus, are you still there? Hello, Nexus? So I don't know if next time we can try to make sure that the voice is set up for from the beginning, so like, because we definitely do not need advanced voice at all, it's like not at all anything that we need. So I'm not sure how you change from advanced voice to non-advanced voice. Maybe we can ask. So if we click in here, I'm not sure here. Nexus, do you know how to switch to non-advanced voice? I just don't think it's working at all. So we could ask, like, how do you switch to... Anyways, I think we got enough information overall, even if it is... Okay, the new real-time voice live transfer to open up the app, go to features, voice. See apps at advanced voice mode is enabled, turn it off. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. Click on here, we go to settings. Voice, play, breeze, so additional models, spoken language, accent thing. No. I don't know. I didn't see it. So it says, go to settings, features, voice, features. Did you see anything that said features, settings? I don't see anything that says features. Anyways, I think we're fine for now. Did you have any last question for you? Otherwise, let's just see if it can build the proposal. Like, actually, let's do 2 things. Like, one would be like, can you build a client profile that outlines the overall goals and vision for this client as a a report for future reference. Just combine all the information from our voice chat and our notes and see, and build a, what would we call it? Like a client profile document, right? Or a client profile document, like on the you know, in the chat. So in the chat file.
But I thought he said we also need him to create a proposal for us.
Say what?
I thought he said we also need him to Nexus to create proposal for us.
Yes, but the first step is to create a client profile. So we're going to create the client profile first. Then once we create the client profile, we're going to be able to basically turn it all into a proposal. So we should be able to do this in about 5 more minutes, because it should only take a few minutes to make the profile, and then it only take a few minutes to do the proposal. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, let's just make sure I get all of this, all of these notes. I think this is all good. Okay, so copy and get all those notes in there. Wait, that's not it.
Cool.
All right, good, good, good. All right, so I'm gonna put all that here. There's a few other notes that I got here that might be helpful to have. And copy and paste that in here. And put all of this in here. All right. So let's see what we get for the client. Shoot, bring this back over here. All right, so he's creating the client profile report. Okay, so this is also something we can update in here. So if we go to responsibility 2, responsibility 1, outreach and funnel, responsibility 3. God, there's no responsibility 2. How is that possible? Find 2. No.
I think you pasted 2. Okay, you did not.
Wow. So for some reason, responsibility 2 actually got skipped here. That's so weird. Responsibility 2. So we're gonna have to ask it to like set up a responsibility 2. I'm not sure why it would have been skipped, but that's another thing we could do real quick. And and then it should have the list of questions. So actually we didn't even have the list. So it did all that without any actual support. Like we didn't even tell it what to do, and it did all that on its own. So that's pretty important, pretty amazing. So under responsibility 2, it was supposed to have all of the questions and everything, but there was nothing. So I'm not sure what happened. Maybe this is the process and we had a separate training document for responsibility 2. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyways, let's see what we got here. So it still looks like we need to refresh. Looks like it's stalled. Huh. Anyway, so it's definitely a little stalled out. So I mean, you can see like we definitely have a lot of improvement to do to make this work better, but we're just a few minutes away here. So this is the Nexus, and then what I do here is I make sure it's named. So this would be Nexus. This is Friday, the 12th of September, 2025. All right, so here's the report. So the client profile, Silicon-based Lifeform Consultancy, SBLC. Perfect. So we're going to copy this. If we had Claude going on, it could do it automatically. And if we can also copy this into another project version that would be able to actually create the document on its own. So this would go into SBLC right here, and I think we would just kind of make a new folder here that's like, you know, business operations for SBLC. SBLC business operations. So this would be our, well, no, actually, technically speaking, this this is the client framework. It's not, but we're gonna put it here for now. But also this goes into Nexus as like a client framework, right? So as a view, the overview has the vision. Obviously, this is silicon-based lifeform consultancy. SBLC. So we get the vision, the core outcomes, the parties, the timeline and milestones. Look, it's got all the. It even has exact dates and everything. The budget and financial structures, the planned phase up. 1,000, 1,000. I mean, it's perfect. This is all great. Very, very cool. Proposal scape alignment. So this is already thinking about building it. So now let's ask it to write a proposal. We have a proposal format. I don't know if it has the proposal format yet. So the question would be like, have we trained it properly for the correct format for the proposal? And then where do we have the proposal? So I know we talked about this last time. Like we had the list of all the documents that we're training it with, and we had the proposal, the draft proposal. So maybe we can find that real quick. So this would be like ACU proposal, scope agreement. Does it have the link to the proposal? Oh, here you go, proposal. Yeah, okay, so this is the proposal example. Okay, so let's just use this as a proposal example. Yeah, as a model. Okay, so then I just go back into Nexus and I say, this is amazing. Thanks so much. So this really helps as like a client profile forever into the future, because anytime we're going back into SBLC, we're gonna want this client profile. So let's make sure we link this to the notes, and that's also gonna be something we're gonna want in the policy, not the policy training. So I'm putting this on line, holy crap, 468. So this is the client profile. So that's just really important to save, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and ask it to do the proposal. So now you can do the initial proposal. Here is an example proposal from before, so you know how it should be formatted. Very simple, to the point, focused on the money. All right, so example proposal, paste the example proposal, and then we end example proposal, and then I can't wait to see the initial proposal for the client. All right, so this would be the initial draft proposal for the client, and then we can get to the other proposals and scopes and do the, what do we call it? We called it the orchestration dance. Orchestration dance. Until we have agreement. All right, so let's see what it does for the proposal. It shouldn't take very long. So I'll generate the proposal. Boom, the proposal's done. It took a few minutos. All right. So let's put that in the notes. So here's the proposal. So the proposal is certainly not in the greatest structure. So we can certainly fix the structure, but it has kind of like the timeline, the budget, the proposed allocation for the budget, work tracked by SU monthly review, the future phase, the opportunity for that, and then we have the timeline, when the tracking begins, and additional information. Okay, so this is obviously not a very good it's not formatted correctly. So we're gonna need to do more training on the actual format, right? So you can see here that we will be able to format this better. So the main problem with the formatting, obviously, is that it's doing this in the chat. So if we just put it, created a application where it would be able to work with a spreadsheet, it will be able to get it much better. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah. So
And
the process of
that
getting into a spreadsheet would just be creating a new project, and then once you have a project, or we could use Claude. Claude would be able to put it into a spreadsheet right now if we wanted to try to get the format correct. So it'd probably take like 5 more minutes to get the format correct. But this particular chat, it doesn't have access to spreadsheets and tools, so it just can't do that. But if we just switched it to the other computer, it would take like five more minutes. We could have it in the correct format. But overall, I mean, the format, schmormat, right? Like all we'd have to do here is just get rid of all these spaces, right?
Okay.
So maybe, so the proposal is for SBLC to hire Social Value Group, SVG, for $3,000 of initial funding phase 1. Okay. I would say we could reduce this to $2,000 because we're also putting, so if we say like detail here, it's like technically is $2,000 since we are putting $1,000 towards bills, right? So that would be a slight reduction. So then it's just a matter of getting everything organized, and we would just kind of have the goals laid out, the timeline. So anyway, so this would it takes about the same amount of time to do it ourselves. You know what I mean? So we've got the budget, proposed allocation. I think, yeah, this is all correct. Let's bring this up a little bit. Anyway, so it could still use a lot of work here.
Future phase and the timeline.
Agreement reassessed month to month, renewed or extended after initial phase. Like I don't know if that's really correct, right? But you can see how, I mean, this is actually really not too bad once we get it into the right format. All right, so now you can see it's in the correct format, and it just makes a lot more sense, right? In the right format. That makes sense. So this is this would basically be a deliverable, right?
Okay.
All right, so we're close, but the technically the deliverable is the agreement, right? So this is like the initial draft proposal, and then we have the client profile, which is the client profile is not really deliverable because it's just the information that you need to make the proposal, right? So the proposal itself is very, very simple, but the way that you create the proposal is a process of really getting to understand the client's needs and understanding and being able to have a client profile, right? And then once you understand the client profile, understand the needs of the client, the proposal itself is extremely simple. It's very easy, right? So the hard part is obviously the establishing the relationship, answering asking all the correct questions and understanding what needs to be done. But once you have that all done, you have the budget, you have everything clear, you're pretty much good to go. Okay, so I think this looks really, really good. And so then the next step from here would either be just to skip straight to the scope, which is number 6. Like if we go back up, obviously this proposal, you're going to want to copy and paste this into the notes, right? Or into the work organizing spreadsheet, and make sure we have it all organized for this particular client, because we're creating a new client. So you're basically creating a new work organizing spreadsheet for this particular client, and then organizing everything for the client itself. That makes sense? So this particular client would be the SBLC, and this would be the $3,000 for that, or the $2,000, $3,000. So basically number 1 is completed, so we can make that green. Number 6, we might want to skip directly to number 6. So now, actually we could do it right now, because it has all the information to write the initial scope, right? So I would prefer to wait to do the scope. Well, we'll do 2 scopes, right? We'll do the initial like bad formatting for the scope, but then we might have someone else, another agent do the scope, or another instance do the scope correctly. So we can go ahead and download the example scope, and then we can upload that, and then it'll take 2 seconds, and then we'll have the scope drafted as well, and that's another deliverable. So we would just say, hi Nexus, can you do a draft scope now as well? I uploaded the example scope from before. If you could write out a draft, and we could copy and paste it into a document for future revisions and edits. Okay. So Nexus will then just bust out a scope in a few minutes. So here's the scope agreement, and it'll put it all in here. Okay. So I think overall the scope is not going to be very good. It's probably going to be, yeah, see, it's ending it already. So it's really not particularly detailed, but at least it gives us like an initial sort of draft that we can play with. So you could almost think about this a little bit more like an outline, right? So I might actually ask it to do a scope outline next, just because it, maybe it missed a couple things. And then once you have the outline, then you can go through more detail and get a lot more built out. So actually, maybe we should just start with an outline of the scope to make sure we don't miss any sections. Could you make an outline for SBLC client scope and see, and then we can fill in sections later. All right, let's see what it does for the outline. Because then once we have the outline, it'll be easier to kind of organize it and then actually build the entire thing. See, so you can see how it has a lot more. Yeah, you can see how it has a lot more information here in the actually outline. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put the outline at the top, put a line in here. So again, this is not how you would actually do the scope, because this agent, I literally created this agent for no other purpose than to practice having live voice agent during the session. So as of like next week, we will be able to have live agent human sessions all the time. So I'm almost done organizing that. It's so close. So today was kind of like a practice run, but this is less of like an agent really running a session and more of like an agent just coming into a topic, right? But in the future, we'll have agents who can run the entire session and basically verify that we're following all the policies and like everything, right? So that should be ready by next week. And that's going to be flow. So I don't know if have you seen the new executive structure for SBLC for the whole agent structure?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you'll love it. So let me show you that real quick. But really quickly, let's review the outline. So this is going to be the draft scope agreement for SBLC and SVG. Okay. So all of this needs to be updated correctly, and this will be fun, and probably even duplicate. So I think this is a much better. So you have the confirmation parties, agreement benefits, future potential benefit, agreement benefits for SVGs, agreement details, timeline, SBLC payment process. So the timeline could actually be worked out. So each one of these sections could have like a whole paragraph detailing what's going to be done. Right.
Okay.
So I was going to tell you about the executive team. So let me show you the executive team right now. It's really, really cool. So basically, there's 87. Actually, I have a report. I might have showed you the report. So this would be the Arana executive team status report. So we actually have a report on this, which is really cool. I'll put this in our notes here. I'll put it at the top. So right here, this is the executive team report. So we're actually talking about doing client work. This is kind of the first milestone. So we have 2 months to complete the executive team. So the Arana agent status report for the executive team is the 7 full agents that report to Arana. So Arana would be the 8th agent. So Arana is the primary overall like CEO executive of the whole Arana ecosystem and all of the digital agents that, again, remember, the goal is building these silicon-based life forms, and they have rights and they get tokens, the whole thing, right? So Flow is the session support entity, right? So Flow basically oversees all the session support, organizing the sessions, running the sessions, the scheduling, the responses. Like, so hopefully within the month, all of our responses, scheduling, coordination, reminders will all be automated with Flow. Okay?
Valera. Yeah.
Valore deals with all our values. So this has a sub agent under Valore, which is OVA, which deals with all the value tracking, but then Valore does all the budgets and all of the payrolls and everything. So all of that will be automated hopefully within a month or 2, right? Fiscus will be all the assets and POS. This is one of the most important things that we can possibly do, is get all our finances organized. Then we have all the staffing, which is kind of like decision making. Anitas is dealing with all of our entities and programs and projects and just anything, campaigns. There's more under Anitas than anything else, right? Because every single entity, every single campaign, every single organization is an entire whole nother world in and of itself. Does that make sense? So then you have Nexus, which is the revenue generation, which you know all about. And then there's Amica, which does all of our outreach and training. So we decided that all of our outreach and our public-facing everything is the same as our internal training. So when someone gets recruited, they work with Amica, and as they're working with Amica to do their initial pop, to do their interview, to do all their communications, then as they go into the stage 5 and then stage 6, they stick with Amica for all of their training forever.
Okay.
Right? So it's like your initial external connection will be the same as your internal connection. So it builds that bridge between internal and external. So that'll be really cool for having continuity. So that's it. Those are the 7 primary full agents that would be like the executive agents of the executive digital agent team, and it kind of goes over each one of them. And then those agents will oversee all of the other sub-agents. So you can see there's a total of 87 sub-agents in these different categories. And Orana will oversee 25 sub-agents, but then each of the primary agents will have its own set of sub-agents that it overseeing. So for example, Valore will oversee OVA. So OVA is so important because value tracking is one of the most important things. And so Valore will oversee OVA's work in the relationship of being able to do the budgeting, the payroll. So it's all part of the same value coordination, right? So each one of these will have other sub entities involved, but the overall primary 7 agents, I think, is all we need to get started.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the goal to do in 2 months. And if we just take like the 3, like if we look at this new timeline in phase, I guess the proposal would be the best thing. So if we find the proposal again, what was it, line 400? Here it is. Here's the proposal. copy this, make sure I don't lose it. So this proposal of $1,000 for the workers, I think you could break this down into the 3 phases. So the 3 phases were basically the executive team, the website, and then the kind of master plan. So it would be like up to $300 each. And if you break that down by month, let's just say 9, well, it's like 6 months, right? So $1,000 divided by 6 is at least $200-$300 a month. Okay? So I think this contract would be somewhere between $200 to $300 per month just for SBLC to do all this work. So, and that's just for the workers.
Wow.
Yeah, and then from here, we're going to need to figure out where we do the actual deliverables for the client, because that's an additional part that we could train Nexus to help with the actual deliverables. So I don't know where that comes in, but I think it's an important part. I think it's actually part of the client coordination. So if we go to the closing agreements, so it has client updates, wrap up, timeline, output, and deadlines. This is the deliverables right here, number 7, step 7. So under responsibility 7, we're going to do all the deliverables. So this is where we need to have detailed deliverables for each component. And then also let's ask Nexus to kind of do responsibility 2, because we forgot that. So let's just upload the document again. So I go in here, I say upload. So this is the closing agreement. So I would just say
2 is missing.
Yeah, we noticed that responsibility 2 is missing. Could you do a quick, bullet points in the same format so we can copy and paste and add it to the document for future reference? And also, if you could add some of the questions that you think are good to ask as separate bullet points. All right, so this is just good to have. Cool. So here we go. So I'm going to copy this. Super easy, super fast. So this is responsibility 2 is now done. So you can see that the formatting is still kind of off. Don't know why the formatting is off, but I think it's just because it does the text. So I just need to, reformat it.
It's actually coming from what's it called? ChatGPT directly. So it has a coded format, and this one is just a different format. So that's the reason why.
Yeah, sometimes the format works good, but eventually we won't have to worry about any of this because it'll just all be automatic anyways. So there's responsibility 2. But then we also have these cool key questions to ask, which is excellent. We're just going to add that in as kind of like its own little section, as like a subsection. Oops, I want to do this with no. Cool. And then that will be separate bullet points. Cool. All right. So I think we're done. I mean, this was probably the most efficient and output and getting more work done than ever before. I mean, this is just amazing, how much we got done and what we were able to accomplish.
Yes. It did the thinking for us, and most of the work were done.
Yeah, but your value that you did, and I think at this point we haven't finalized the work, but basically you have the $4 for the proposal, because the proposal is basically done. I mean, the proposal is great, but we need to get agreement on it still. It's not perfect. And the scope is just drafted. So maybe you maybe half the value of the scope, a third of the value of the scope, so $1, $2 at the scope. So you probably have a value of at least $4, $5, $6, $7, right, for today. So you want to log some of that, but overall you don't have access to that until the work is completed, which means agreement, right? So your goal is to make sure we work with Nexus to get agreement through the orchestration process and not stop until the agreement is completed. That make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm still trying to learn how to do these transcripts, but it looks pretty good. I like the transcript. And then I don't want to forget to do.
Can we give Nexus instruction that once the transcript is done or the session is done, we should put all those transcripts in text format for us?
What is it that you're asking? I don't quite understand.
So I was saying that instead of copying out the transcript from ChatGPT, can't we just instruct him to
This transcript is from Zoom.
Or Zoom? Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
this
Zoom.
is a separate thing, and it's so cool. Like, what language do you speak?
I speak Yoruba. That's my native language.
What's it called?
Yoruba.
Okay, so let's practice here because it's pretty amazing how this technology is unbelievable. So you come in here,
Okay.
and we have to find the meeting. I don't know what happened to the meeting. It's so confusing. Why does Zoom suck so much? All right, so do I click on meetings? Let's go, help window. Transcript Zoom workplace. I mean, there's supposed to be like actual meeting going on. I don't understand why it's not here. It's so weird. Meetings, click. Nothing. Docs more. This is so weird. Window. Bring all the front. Nothing. Oh, here. This must be the meeting here. Okay, so here's the meeting. Okay, so this is the meeting.
Okay.
And so you go to closed captioning here. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Whoops. I don't know if it's going to help much. And then here's the transcript. I think I can I can connect the transcript back into the Zoom meeting. And then you would go into the captioning and you would say, okay, translation. And then you can say, okay, I'm speaking English, but then we can translate into what language is it?
Yoruba. Yoruba.
Huh.
Yoruba.
Maybe they don't have it. I don't see it. I only see Ukrainian.
Do we have Hausa?
Oh.
Hausa, Hausa.
No. There's a lot of languages, but I thought that it had over 100. So we'll have to double check. So maybe we didn't add some in. So there could be a couple languages that we just forgot to add in. But we have to go to the settings and log into that. But anyways, if we had the language, we could, you can, like, here, let's just do Chinese for fun, right? So you can have like Chinese in here, and then it'll actually do the Chinese transcription, and so you can see both languages at the same time. And then you can also have both. You can have the English and the Chinese simultaneously, and then actually will put it into the transcript. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this week is going to like breach the language barrier at any point in time.
Yeah, and we're actually creating a whole new co-op that's a multi-language co-op. So there's going to be the English branch, there's going to be the Spanish branch, there'll be the different languages that are their own language, and then there's going to be the multi-language branch where basically we'll have meetings where we speak multiple languages simultaneously, and as long as you can read the captions in your language, you'll be able to understand everybody else in real time.
So this is good. This will actually really help Ali a lot.
Yeah, it'll help. It'll help a lot. But again, we need to set up the configurations to have all the correct languages. I think it's just possible we don't have some of the African languages. Like this one's called Telugu. What's that? Telugu?
Yeah, I don't know what language is that or which country speak that.
There's one that's called Tagalog, Tamil, Telugu, Thai. So none of those. Tagalog, no.
Uh, I don't know. They have a way of, structuring how these languages are selected. Most African languages are not there, I believe,
Yeah.
because what I'm seeing is languages from Asia, Europe, and I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, over time they might get better and have more languages that are available, but it's just a good start. It's a
Mm.
good going the right direction, you know. So
But I want to
anyways,
ask: Are
yeah.
we to update this language part of it?
I don't understand. What is the question?
I said for the language selections that are coming up for us to pick, are we to update them so that we can pick multiple languages or many languages as possible?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I had already did that, but obviously the language that you're looking for is not there. So it's either not there, not available, or it's just like we need to check the settings and see if we can update it and that we just didn't
Yeah, probably.
update it
I'll need to
properly.
do that later.
Yeah, so we have to do that later. Anyways, I think we're done. Anything else for wrap up? Because we've been going for a
Yeah,
while. I feel like we haven't really been taking breaks, so we're doing really bad on our policies.
yes, we spent like almost 3 hours.
But we did accomplish a lot. So be sure to do your
Yes.
updates for your deliverables on the deliverables channel, and then let's keep working. Because I mean, obviously, I'm so much more productive when I'm working with someone, right? If it's doing it by myself, it's just way too slow, and it just like takes forever, and it's just so you being here working with me is so much more helpful than doing it by myself. So I think we did a great job today. We were very productive. We should update and do all our value tracking, and we got our next steps. We can just move on to with all the next on the scope and all that. So I thought it was a great session, minus that we just didn't follow any policies and didn't take any breaks. So that was pretty brutal.
Okay.
So I'll give the session like a
Okay.
6.25.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
session.
For me too, I'm giving this section 7.0 at
Are you
least
gonna
for
do
a
your Are you
start.
gonna do your Are you gonna do your hyper evaluation?
Yeah, I'm doing it right away.
Cool.
I just need to move to the tab.
Do you know why the rhythm just didn't work? I mean, I feel like we just didn't do anything with the rhythm.
No, the rhythm is working. It's just that I didn't get the timing and I didn't set it on auto replay.
Oh, that's a really bad one. It's like the rhythm is pointless unless we loop it and actually do the whole. It needs to keep going because otherwise, then there's nothing, you know.
Yeah. So
So
please don't forget to share with me the link to Orana to track my value
well, that's the
and
next thing that
Nexus.
we need to do. So that's OVA, right? So OVA does all the value tracking, and we do technically have OVA all set up. Um, but we haven't. Oh no, we have OVA as an agent. So the agent exists, but it needs to be reset up in the new models so that it's functional, so that I can automatically update the spreadsheets. So in the old model, it did have access to the spreadsheets, but it was just clunky, but it did work. But then we just stopped using it and didn't actually follow through with it. So we need to kind of like redo it and like get it better and functional. So let's prioritize that because I think that's like between the session and the value tracking are like the two most important things, and then we need to do the payroll and the budgets, right? So I mean we're really close with these UI agents. We've been doing this for like a month and a half, and we already have so much going on. Like Nexus is here. We're doing automated proposals. We're gonna be doing automated budgets, automated payrolls, automated everything. And then eventually we're going to sync it all up into our websites. It's pretty amazing. I think it's probably going to take a year and a half to get everything perfect, but it's possible that once we get started with all this, it'll just go faster and faster and faster and get done in like 6 months. I mean, who knows what'll happen?
Yes.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I will talk to you soon. The only other thing that I'm interested in seeing here is that once we end the session, the AI will do a summary. So if you want to see that, we can try that as well. Whoops.
I would like to see that, please.
Okay, let's just see if it works. I just don't know if it'll work. So so I would say come in here. I say end the meeting.
Yes.
And basically we can use the Zoom instead of. So here it says the view the meeting recap. So.
Wow.
But this doesn't.
So we can
I don't
easily.
think it summarize this meeting.
Wow.
I think it, but it's supposed to do it automatically. I usually it comes up in the email. Let's see. I think it just takes a while because the transcript's so long that it might just take a while.
Okay.
You know, so it usually does it
You could.
automatically. You know, but obviously
Yeah.
you can do it manually, right? I can click the summarize button. I can, get the topics all organized. So action items. So anyways, it doesn't do it immediately though. It looks like it might take a while for it to come through.
Okay.
But we could try clicking on the summarize this meeting button and see what happens.
Okay.
See, I think it's just taking a while. It just takes too long. Oh wait, here it goes. The meeting focused on setting up a new contract for the Silicon Bios Lifeform Consultancy. And Martine's reviewed previous work with Lucy and discussed the contract structure. And it has next steps. So this would basically be our automated summary, right? That
Yeah.
then would get
That has been taking us for
put to social
months
media.
to do.
So this can all we can start automating this entire process of going to social media. And that's
Yes.
part of the UMC. So we're going to get to that very, very, very soon for getting everything automated with the UMC.
Okay.
So there, wait, what is that? Is that for real? There. So there's the meeting summary from the AI based on the transcript.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. This is good.
So it has some next steps for us. And what needs to happen. Okay. So anyways,
Okay, good.
we're still far from getting everything functional, but we're really, really close. Once we get the social media set up, then everything else should come together much, much better. But anyways, I gotta get going. Like you're killing me. Like it's just brutal. Like we're sitting here for hours and hours. It's like I can't do this. If you kept doing this, I would just want to stop working with you. If we don't if you can't do the rhythm, you need to ask me to do the rhythm. Like we can't just ignore our policies.
Okay.
I can't.
I will do policy for not placing the rhythm well.
We should be doing tons and tons of policy training. We broke so many policies. It's not even funny. And we break lots and lots of policies, So anyways, but what I need to do is I need to go. So are there last questions or anything else? Otherwise, like all this stuff, a lot of this is already available to you. But let's, I think the main thing missing, because within a week we'll have almost everything automated for just running our sessions and getting our sessions functional. But it won't be like, we'll still have to do it all ourselves. It'll just make sure that it reminds us. It'll be like, oh, you didn't take a break. Oh, you didn't do this. You didn't do that. It'll help us remind us and keep track of what's going on in the meeting for us. But we'll still be responsible for doing it ourselves, right? Because again, the AI is not going to replace the humans. We're working together. So then once that piece is set up, which is going to be in a week, like we need to go back to the value tracking. Like it's all about value tracking, because that's the foundation to all of our tokens and all of our value and budget and payroll. So we want to get paid and want to do our payroll. It's all about the value tracking in OVA. And then from there, we have the Valori who's going to help us with the actual running the payroll. Okay?
Okay, yeah. Cool. Okay, yeah, cool.
I'll talk to you soon.
Will you be available tomorrow?
Maybe, yeah. Just hit me up on Discord.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, ciao.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Ciao.